Controversial we will be today.
Yes.
Well, he will be.
Shoot me, I don't care.
I've seen a couple of films since the beginning of January, but the one film that stood out from the few that I have seen is a film called Hunter x Hunter. It's a really good movie. It surprised me how good the direction was because I am guessing it's made on a shoestring budget.
Was the director anyone?
No,
was it? No.
Sean. I'm gonna say his name wrong, so I won't say it at all. But I know his first name's Sean, and I did look at his Wikipedia page, and there wasn't. He has done films, mostly B movies,
Right.
independent flicks, which Hunter x Hunter is. But this movie really did catch my attention because the direction, one thing I think is hard for directors to do for any movie is to keep the tone of its plot, and the atmosphere, and he does it throughout, and the cinematography is fantastic. The lead star is Devon Sawa, yeah,
From Final Destination.
Final Destination.
And the Stan video of
Yes,
Eminem.
yes, that's he was the original, the replacement of Eminem in that video, and and he's basically the main star, I would say, and another actress who you should really look out for because she was excellent in this film, called Camille Sullivan. And, I've never really watched much of her work before, but she's sort of Devon is sort of the focus, and his daughter, but Camille sort of takes on a big part of the movie. And I really, really enjoyed it. I wasn't too sure what to expect. I just liked the cover of the movie, so I thought that's why I'm going to watch it.
The cover is very cool.
Yeah, exactly. It sort of draws you in, which
Yeah,
I think is important. I think if you're going to have a film and you're going to make it, and you've created something and you want people to watch it, then you've got to make a great cover.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they might pass it by. Word of mouth seems to be pushing it, which is great. Yeah. And I really, like to say, for a first film for the year, well, it wasn't the first. The first film I watched was Possessor, which was Brandon Cronenberg's
yeah.
film, which I did
really want to watch that.
I did like it. I did like that movie. It had a few issues with it here and there, but as far as otherwise it's quite a solid film.
Because that film, sorry, I'm going off topic, but we always do. Everyone loves that. Possessor was on a lot of people's best films 2020 list.
I can see why, because the story of the background of Possessor, the plot, is amazing. It's
Is he very much like his father, the way he directs?
It's very original, and that's what Cronenberg is. But Brandon Cronenberg seems to be going on a similar path to his dad. And there's definitely you notice these. I mean, obviously you're going to compare the two because father and son influences and whatnot. But I did really enjoy what we saw with Possessor. But there was a couple of bits that really bothered me about the movie. Again, I won't mention it. You're not seeing it yet, but we could talk about it another time.
Yeah.
But Hunter x Hunter, like I say, that's a movie that I think everyone should try and check out. Yeah. I think it's a film that you'll definitely enjoy.
Well, the both Possessor and Hunter x Hunter are both out on DVD in February.
Okay, I didn't know
that. I'm 100% on Possessor.
Yeah.
I'm 80% on Hunter x Hunter.
Morrison's, here we come.
Yeah, well, I've already pre-ordered mine.
Okay. You did that in Morrison's?
No, I'm sorry, I done it on HMV, so I pre-ordered it on HMV. Yeah,
whenever you go to Morrison's, you always see a good DVD selection, I've noticed. They always have the
£3 to £5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
If you go to Tesco's, no offense Tesco's, but you will always find in Morrison's a bit more range, especially on the DVD section. You see a lot more horror films, you see a bit more foreign films, and I like that because then people will take a punt on it, you would back in the old days when you watched the VHSs. But I think I'll keep an eye out for those releases.
Definitely.
Yeah. What was yours?
Well, mine's not as new as yours, so quite the opposite of new. 1989, directed by J.R. Bookwalter.
Right.
I hope I said his name right. And it's The Dead Next Door.
Okay.
Which is...
I've seen the cover many times.
I think it's quite a cool cover.
Yeah, it's one of those films that you may have never seen, but you know it just by the cover.
Yes, yeah. Well, do you know the last shirt on the left, the company?
I know of it.
Yeah, they've released a really cool T-shirt, and that's how I got onto it. It's been on my watch list for a while.
Okay.
And I seen they released it, and I thought, you know what, I went on CEX, ordered it, and then I watched it. It's horrendously low budget.
Yeah.
The special effects, they must have spent all that because the effects are top notch, and everything in it's just like a love letter to Romero. There's two characters called Savini, obviously Tom Savini, Sam Raimi, Carpenter, whose birthday it is today, by the way, yeah?
Repping the man
Happy
himself.
birthday, John. And then on the wall, there's King and Romero spray painted. Right. Obviously, Stephen King, George Romero. And I would say it's the closest you can get to coming to a Romero film from the Dead trilogy without watching a George Romero film.
That's pretty strong, I'd say. Like I say, if a film is like that, then it's worth your time, isn't it?
The thing is that, like I said, like the way it's shot, it's very, like, you could tell it was shot on not a very good camera. But I'd love to see it if JR, don't know what that stands for, could get more money and remake it.
Okay. Did it spawn sequels?
I don't think it did. No. Don't hold me to it. I didn't look, but I'm pretty sure it did.
No, like I say, I have seen it for sale on DVD
yeah.
Many times. It's just one of those films I never picked up to really look at properly. But the director I've not heard of before.
He didn't really do much.
No.
He's done a lot of special effects.
Okay,
He's more of a special effects artist, which you can tell from the movie.
Right.
Then he is a director, I think. Because he's done some other like really low budget films, like sci-fi and horror films.
Well, like I said, that film has always been around somewhere along your journey of looking through films. Basically, when you're going to either buy them, just browsing, it always pops up somewhere along the line. So, so that alone gives it a cult status.
Yes,
I think.
yeah. Well, like I said, like the only reason I brought it was because Last Year on the Left released that T-shirt.
Right,
and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go for it because it's been, like I said, when you're flicking through, you always find it. You're like, no, because it's just gonna. Because in my head, I was like, it's just gonna be a rip-off.
Yeah.
Which you do think that, but when you watch it, no.
Hunter x Hunter, for example, I only heard about it through word of mouth. That, in a way, the same with the film you're talking about.
The Dead Next Door.
Dead Next Door. I did forget it. That is got, again, as a word of mouth film, or basically just by looking at the cover. So no, I'll try and check that out. I mean, I'll borrow it off you.
You can borrow it off me. I've got the uncut version.
Oh well, there you go. That's the one I'm taking.
The first time I've ever seen that, funny enough, you've lived around there your whole life, so you'll probably remember. Do you remember Choices?
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen that film. In the rental aisle in Choices.
I most likely would have seen it myself at the same time. It's one of those. Choices. Rest in peace. We love the old hangouts.
Yeah, I've never been to a Blockbuster. Never went. There was one in.
Not one in Stafford?
No, I was a Choices boy through and through. Yeah,
you were dedicated.
Yeah. My family just wouldn't drive to Prestatyn, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
We're gonna do films that we dislike, but people seem to love. Yeah. I'm gonna let you start first before I start burning bridges.
One of the films you're about to talk about could burn down this podcast.
My number one definitely will make a lot of people angry.
Apologise in advance, but at the same time, it's quite interesting. So
our editor James nearly left.
Yeah, he nearly left the team, but that's why it makes it exciting. But my first one, and it goes back to what I talked about sort of last week. So last week we talked about Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I think I mentioned it in the last podcast, and it's a movie that I was terribly excited for. It had a fantastic trailer, and the trailer sold it to me, and I never heard of the comic book because it's based on a comic book. But with Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, I was infuriated by the characters. I didn't like anyone, apart from one character who was Knives. Have you seen it?
Yes, I'm a fan.
You're a fan?
I'm a fan, yeah.
Well, Knives is the young girl, basically, who becomes the first girlfriend, really, of Scott Pilgrim. So Scott Pilgrim gets, he's sort of like, wanting a girlfriend, wants to sort of, have that love interest, and he meets Knives.
He was a high school girl.
High school girl. So that is
a taboo thing.
Yeah. So he meets her, and they get to know each other, and she's back for fun, and he likes her, but she comes across annoying, and because of her age.
Well, he's quite a bit older than her as well. He's 24, I think.
Yeah,
in the film,
and all
he?
the jokes that are made against him because of her age and their age difference. And I did really like the way the film was made. I did enjoy it to that degree, because Edgar Wright has a stamp on movies, his own films. Yeah. Sometimes I wish now I like to think he's going to back away from that a little bit, because I want directors to sort of get out of their comfort zone. Because I think when directors get out of their comfort zone is when you see the real director. Yeah. You see what they're made of. I want to see a director that will challenge genres and things like that. And Scott Pilgrim is a different film, really, but it's still got that zany, satirical feel about it, like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. And but yeah, like I say, I did not like the characters in Scott Pilgrim, and that made it problematic for me. I just thought to myself, if these people were hanging around in my life, I just would not want to be around them, So being with them in a film, I remember I took my wife to watch the movie, and I sort of like it was when we first met, and I sort of said to her, "This is going to be a great film. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be really special. It's going to break barriers." And in the end, we walked out, and I apologised because I hated it, and she said I hated it too. And over the years, I realised, those are the kind of films she won't like. And usually, Scott Pilgrim is a film that I would like, but this movie I just could not get on board with. I just hated the treatment of Knives in the movie because basically Knives gets put aside because
Scott's a dick to her.
Yeah,
Again, pardon my French, Scott's
because,
a dick.
Because Scott ends up with Ramona,
Yeah.
and I mean Ramona is beautiful in the movie and things like that, and I can sort of see the attraction. It's got the goth vibes, sort of thing. And even towards the end, I don't want to try and spoil it, but the film's been around for 11 years now. But as the movie progresses towards the end, Knives comes out and helps Scott in his quest to get Ramona. And I think to myself, why are you doing this for this guy who does not do anything to help you? And it bothered me a lot, and I just couldn't get it out of my head. I thought, Knives is being, disserviced here, and she's not getting, the praise that as the character that she deserves. In my opinion, she should have won who could have been with Scott at the end, because I think she does more to sort of prove herself as, girlfriend material than Ramona does.
Look, she ends up with the band. Is it young Neil, the bandmate? She ends up with him at the end.
I mean, I haven't seen the film for quite a while,
Yeah.
so I'm only going off what I remember. But I do remember the last scene. She walks off somewhere with someone.
I'm pretty sure she gets. I think it's the roadie that's always with him, the young lad.
I can live with that to a degree because, like I say, it's a bit of a happy story, but happy ending. But before that, I was just getting infuriated. And some of the characters. I mean, I get. There's quirky people out there, and Scott Pilgrim is nothing but quirky characters. But I don't know whether, at the same time, I watched it, maybe it's past my generation.
Well, I was going to say that. I didn't want to offend you, though.
No, it's my age,
I seem to find that people sort of like my age, younger, really like the film. But then, like I think I watched it with my dad once, and my dad was like, "This is garbage. Why are we watching this kind of thing?" I'm not saying they're the same age as my dad's, Rob.
No. Maybe
but
no,
you're not now. No, but yeah, I find that people say like 5 to 10 years older than me seem to think that it's silly. Yeah. Which I get. Again, I know what you mean by the characters. Like Chris Evans' character, massive douchebag in the film.
But I don't mind that because his character, like he's an ex-boyfriend of Ramona, so that's kind of his behaviour is proof to why he's an ex.
But he sort of plays like a over-hyped Clint Eastwood kind of character, which is annoying. I thought really annoying.
I like his voice in it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's got like the eyebrow twitch he has as well.
Yeah, if you watch if you think of Chris Evans now from Captain America, his role in Scott Pilgrim is completely like nothing like it.
No.
And that's one thing I do actually like about because when you look at the cast list of Scott Pilgrim, it is a brat pack of the actors and actresses that have come into the film now.
Yeah.
You've got Brie Larson, before Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and you've got Alison Brie,
Mary Elizabeth Winstead's Ramona.
She's gone to do some great work, and obviously Michael Cera was just off Superbad, so he was he's not so much in the public eye as much now, but
no, he sort
of dipped a bit more the indie world, but. Like I say, and you've got Superman, you've got Brandon Roth, and there's lots of other characters and stuff, and one of the Culkin brothers as well.
Who's his gay friend? He lives with us, isn't he?
Well, that's a character I definitely don't like because I never liked how sarcastic he was. I don't mind sarcasm, that's fine, but he was over sarcastic for the film, and it kind of made me, you're usually trying to support, you usually like the best friend of the main character, because he's the one who helps push the main character along. But in my head, it just did my head in. I just did not like it, and because I do like Edgar Wright, going back to what I said the week before, I do like him. I'm not trying to hate on the guy because I'm excited. I'm always excited to see what he brings out next. It's just what he seems to bring out I don't seem to like currently. So I'm not like Edgar Wright's not dead to me as a director. He is still strong. I'm still hopeful because I'm still hopeful he's going to bring out a film that's going to really blow me away. And that's why I stick with him, because I know he can do it, even though I'm sure everyone else knows he can do it anyway, which he can. But I think he's better than Scott Pilgrim and The World's End and the half an hour I watched of Baby Driver. So we're going on to yours next.
Yeah, my first one is Mars Attacks.
Okay.
I sort of suffer from the same thing that you did with Scott Pilgrim. Great cast. but everyone is annoying, like really annoying. And plus as well, I'm going to say it, and I don't care who, you can write nasty comments to us, I don't care. The aliens look awful.
Ah, okay. What were the names of them? Did they give them a name?
I think they're just Martians.
Martians.
Yeah, they make that ag noise, really annoying.
Nice planet, we will take it.
Yeah, really annoying film. Michael J. Fox is in it, Jack Black's in it.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, people that I really like. Well, next film we'll get on to that. Yeah, but I just really couldn't get behind it. I tried to watch it again the other day.
Okay.
I brought it. I spent money on the piece of crap. I thought, I'm going to watch this, and I thought maybe it's because I had a third film, because we were going to do 3 films, but I watched the third film again, did you see the messages?
Yes.
And I think it was my age, because number 3 for me was E.T., shoot me, I don't care. But I rewatched it as an adult, and I watched it, I thought, oh, this is amazing, because my whole thing with E.T. is that he just looked like some testicles.
Right.
That was my thing. He looked like dried up testicles.
Well, they have remastered the movie since, so I think
maybe that's what it was. Maybe I watched it as a kid on VHS, thought, oh, no, he looks like a nutsack.
When I first saw E.T., I just cried my eyes out, because I just couldn't, it was the first film I think I realised of people not staying together, like the first, loss of a friendship, maybe, and obviously, because I found him to be quite cute. Unlike yourself.
Dried up nutsack.
Yeah, I've lost my train of thought now because I'm thinking of that. But yeah, that movie had a profound effect on me. And I find it even hard now to go back to it. I went back to it about 10 years ago, I think. I watched it I had a day off work and I had one afternoon and I put it on, I was on my own, and I still welled up towards the end, and I've not gone back to it since. I've got it on Blu-ray, and I need to rewatch it again, because I think I watched it on DVD originally. Sorry, the VHS, obviously, and then DVD. But going off topic anyway. But Mars Attacks, shoot.
I just hate it.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
Fair enough.
I tried to, like I said, E.T. is not in a film I hate anymore. I quite like E.T. I thought it was a fun little family film. Again, think the alien looks weird, looks like a scrotum. But we'll get off E.T. Mars Attacks, I just, nah.
No.
That's how I feel about it. Like, Tim Burton, I think he's an okay director and he's an okay writer. His art is all right. Like, I like A Nightmare Before Christmas. He didn't direct that, though. He wrote it, obviously, and did the art. But, like, I can't sit down and think of one film where I'm like, yeah, he deserves an Oscar for that.
I completely agree, because Mars Attacks I watched, was it 98, 99? No idea. But I know I watched it not long after it came out, and because of the cast list, you had Pierce Brosnan, Jack Nicholson, the characters you've already mentioned, the actors you've already mentioned. So there's lots of other people, behind this movie, and everyone was buzzing for it because it really did. I think it came out not long after Independence Day, so alien invasion films were really popular at the time, and it sort of came out of nowhere. And I'm in agreement with you. I don't particularly rate Tim Burton much. I like Beetlejuice, fantastic. I love Edward Scissorhands. I love the first Batman. I love Batman Returns.
Yeah.
And everything else since then. And it seems to be, apart from Edward Scissorhands and Ed Wood, I really liked that. Have you seen Ed Wood?
Yes, I have.
That was probably the last Tim Burton film I watched and was really gone brilliant, great. And everything's from Chocolate Factory to Sweeney Todd, Big Fish.
I didn't mind Sweeney Todd, to be honest with you.
Fan,
yeah, I do. I love music. Oh, yeah, I love musicals.
I like musicals, but I just couldn't. It's not a. I don't know. I think he peaked very early in his career.
Very early, yeah. It seemed like I was saying, again on that topic. I think, don't get me wrong, he's a good director, good writer, good artist, but he isn't great.
No, he creates better characters than films.
Yes, exactly, yeah. I feel like if he did Edward Scissorhands and gave it to someone, say like Spielberg, that film would Oscars everywhere, out the kazoo. But because he done it, although Vincent Price is in it, which is pretty cool, his last film before he died, because he's the maker in it, he made Edward. I just hate Mars Attacks. I'm sorry, but I do. That's all I've got to say about it.
Everyone's got a right to have an opinion.
Yeah, no, that's fact. It's crap.
It's fact. I'm
only joking.
Again, I did not like it myself. I thought it was okay, but for what you've got in front of you, for the movie that it is, which is basically, for what it's got, for the cast, for the director, for the money behind it, you expect more. And I remember watching it, and I remember thinking,
everything's lousy about the CGI when people get evaporated. I know it's the 90s.
I think it was trying to do like a
cartoony kind of effect.
It felt like like a 50s sci-fi film. I don't know whether that was what the original plan was, whether the influence of, you know,
Plan 9.
like Forbidden Planet
Yeah.
and things like that was maybe behind the idea, and then brought in the more comedy side of things.
Because the aliens, the Martians, they were a card, weren't they, before
Yeah.
the film? And I love the cards. I think the cards, the art on them is beautiful. I love it, kind of thing. But like the film, I just can't. Like I said the other day, tried to watch it, sat down, thought, you know what? No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to watch it all. Literally, I think 25 minutes in, I was just like, no. I was like, no, I can't do this to myself.
It has got, like I say, it was very hyped at the time, because I think Burton hadn't made much before it. I think Ed Wood might have been the last film he made before that film. I could be wrong, but I think because of the work he had made previously, and the cast list that was attached to it. I mean, Jack Nicholson to be in a film like that, which is not the kind of film he would be in. Do you know what? It's got a very Roger Corman vibe.
Yes,
and Jack Nicholson was a student of Roger Corman.
Yeah.
So
well, he was in the Little Shop of Horrors. That he
yes, that's
did,
correct.
Yeah,
that's right.
The original one, yeah.
And again, that's kind of, you know, got that Tim Burton vibe about it, which I'm sure he was influenced by. But Mars Attacks, I am the same as you. I mean, I wouldn't say I hated it or anything like that, but I don't just particularly get on with it. I think it's very like, I've seen people buy artwork over the years. Artwork's fine, I guess. But I think people have praised it, and to be fair, not many mention it.
For a good reason.
And I think they don't mention it much because like I say, I think it's one of the lesser movies of Tim Burton.
Yeah, 100%. Like, what's your number one? So I don't want to talk. That's how angry I am at the film. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
No, because I mean, everyone's got a right to obviously hate a film or dislike it or whatever you want to call it. But obviously, what I do like about all movies being made and all people being fans of films is that if let's say Chad and I don't like a certain film, like Mars Attacks, but then say millions more do, and it makes 400 million or 300 million in the box office, that's great, because the money made from that film might go in to make another film that we like. So that's always a good thing and a positive thing. So not we're here to hate at all, but of course we want to, you know, at the end of the day, for all the great films are out there, there's a lot of bad films, and it's important to sort of discuss, especially if it's films that people are not expecting you. I've never had many conversations with people saying they dislike Scott Pilgrim. I'm one of maybe a couple of people that I know personally, and the same with Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's good to get different vibes. But my number one is a film that is, so I'm going to try and say the director's name correctly, Alejandro Inarritu. I tried to say it without the accent.
Do the accent, try it.
It sounds Alejandro Inarritu.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
That sounds like a Spanish.
Give chills down the back there, Rob.
Spanish wizard. But I do love Alejandro because he made a great movie in 2000 called Amores Perros. Which, have you seen Amores?
No.
It's a low budget foreign movie. I think it's Mexican. I think it is Mexican, and I love that movie. And he went on to do other films called with Sean Penn and Benicio del Toro called 21 Grams, Babel with Brad Pitt.
Okay.
And he made Birdman with Michael Keaton.
Did watch it?
I've not seen that either.
No, I didn't get around to watching that.
But The Revenant is my number one.
Yes.
Now, this is a movie that came out 2015. It's an important film. You know, it talks. You know, it's to people, not to me.
all me. I'm also not a fan.
No, because when it came out, I was excited for it because you've got Tom Hardy, you've got DiCaprio, you've got obviously Alejandro's behind the directing, and I thought to myself, I'm in. It sounded to me like this is this generation's Last of the Mohicans. And I love Last of the Mohicans. Have you seen that? That's on Netflix. You know, it's a really good
I was going to watch it the other night.
I
didn't get around there.
Great film. It's really, you know, if you like those kind of movies, historical dramas with
Daniel Day-Lewis is in Last of the Mohicans,
with a lot of action thrown in, you know, Dances with Wolves vibes sort of thing. Then you watch Last of the Mohicans. But Revenant had that feel to it. It's the opening scene to Revenant. I loved it. The attack on the camp.
Okay, yeah, with the Native Americans.
Yeah, because I saw it in the IMAX.
Okay.
So that's one reason why I didn't come out disliking it too much, because watching something in the IMAX, no matter what it is, will always look better and feel better because that's the experience. But when I watched The Revenant, you know, I sort of dissected it once I left, and the film is about 40 minutes too long. Now, if the movie's say just under 2 hours, to me it's a great film. Not perfect, but a great film, because you've got the best bits in the movie, and there's a lot of great moments in it. Tom Hardy is a revelation. I mean, he was well known at the time because, you know, The Dark Knight Rises had been and gone, and He had made Bronson, which was independently made, but got a lot of favour with the critics. But he really did make a scene in The Revenant, which earned him his first Oscar nomination. And
I didn't know he got nominated for that.
He got nominated
supporting actor,
and DiCaprio bagged his first Oscar after so many nominations.
I just want to say he should have won it for Wolf of Wall Street. I'm just going to put that out there. He should have got it for Wolf of Wall Street.
Chad's taken the words out of my mouth because I think exactly the same, because that role is just
outstanding.
It blows your head off. It's nothing. I mean, you take Jack and from Titanic and Romeo from Romeo and Juliet, and then you look at DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort.
Yeah.
That is how far he's come as an actor. He has become this, the colossal, image in Hollywood that he is now. And but The Revenant, The Revenant is a great role for him. It is. Barely speaks in it much, but when he does, he's doing the job that he's meant to do.
Screams a lot. Gets buggered by a bear.
Yeah, the bear scene. The bear scene's fantastic. I mean,
very well done.
Not for the buggering reason, but for the fact is that it's so well done. It feels like you're watching a live bear attack. And to be fair, when someone says to me, "Oh, we got attacked by a bear," I'm thinking, "Well, just run away." And then
bears are fast, Well, bears are very fast.
A bear attack on the IMAX will make you realise and go, I was talking rubbish.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Revenant is just too long. It got all these applauds. It got all these nominations. Won Oscars. Yeah. Alejandro won 2 directing Oscars.
Leo won his first Oscar for that.
Yeah, well, he won 2 directing Oscars back to back. Birdman was the first one.
Oh, really?
And the year after was The Revenant. But The Revenant for me is just like, I think people. I'm not telling people how they should think or what their opinion is, but I think people really did, raise a fire with that film that was never deserved.
No,
personally, unless you're a fan of that type of movie, it is a journey, and you are knackered by the end, because at the end of the film, you've gone on this journey with him, and he's trying to get to where he needs to be. It's a revenge film, really,
because he's trying to get Tom Hardy, isn't he?
He's trying to get the man who killed his son.
Yes, yeah.
And he's going through all these, the elements of, of weather, whether it be rain, snow, or just, nature in itself is attacking him from all ends whilst trying to recover from the bear attack. And I just think for all that DiCaprio's done and for all that Tom Hardy's done, Tom Hardy does play a great role, but sometimes I don't like it when they've done better work and they got less praise.
Yes.
Because I think it's just, I think people, The Revenant, like most films that get Oscars, they come out at the correct time. You never see a film come out in February and then get nominated the year after, or March time. The Oscars usually is in February, and so they would usually get nominated. So films that come out to qualify for the nominations and Oscars come out September to January, and then maybe 1 or 2 come out in February. But I think it's quite rare. Maybe in the UK they come out, but in America they're out already. But I just think, it was a perfect film for the Oscars. Yeah. It had everything they wanted.
They love that. They love that kind of film.
It ticked the boxes. And DiCaprio, like I say, he is deserving of his Oscar. He's just not deserving of that Oscar.
With me, I think he should have won 2 Oscars for that, for Wolf of Wall Street, and as Calvin Candy in Django Unchained.
Yes, he was.
Because he is exceptional in that film.
I'm not a massive Django fan, but I do love him in Django.
Turn the camera off for a minute. You're not a fan of Django.
He might come back in a minute and a black eye may appear.
I'm going to say it. That is the best Tarantino film.
Do you know what? I should have mentioned. Do you know what? Actually, it's funny because I should have mentioned Django because that would have been my third choice probably. And but we don't want to break the camera.
I'm going to hit you
when Chad throws me through it. But no, honestly, I love his role in that movie. And there's a lot of things I do like about Django, but the film as a whole, I wasn't a big fan of.
Right.
But to be fair, it's a film I've been back to 3 times, and I am planning on a 4th watch. I was talking to a friend about it recently, and he's going to go back to it, and he doesn't like it either. But again, there must be something about it slightly to make us want to go back. So we might have missed out the first 3 times, but 3 times is quite a lot.
Yeah, to me, Django Unchained Tarantino's best film ever.
A lot of people think
I think that film's flawless. I can't find a Christoph Waltz in it, for God's sake.
Him and Jamie Foxx do a great job in it. But I just cannot seem to
get behind it.
Compared to, I was a big fan of Inglourious Bastards. I was a big fan of, I wasn't a massive fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I've not seen that.
No, it's a hangout movie, and if you know it's a hangout movie before you go into the film, it's great. But if you don't know that, then you might be expecting more from it. Because I wasn't, again, a film that suffered from its running time. It had too many boring scenes in it for me. But and The Revenant is exactly the same. That had too many scenes of just walking, trekking. And I know you're on a journey with the character, but
Journey of Revenge.
Glass, isn't it? It's like, what's his name? Glass, Hugh Glass, is it? But I think it's Glass something. But yeah, that is the problem with The Revenant for me. It's too long, and I think a film needs to realise sometimes, you know what? Stop being so. But of course, what do I know? It went on to win Oscars, and I think it made over 500 million in the box office, which is big. And it obviously gets praised to this day, but not from myself or Chad.
The biggest crime was the bear didn't get the Oscar for supporting actor.
Yes.
That was the biggest crime.
Yeah.
That bear made that scene.
To be fair, I've always thought that, films, like Oscars, like, they don't have any love at the moment for stuntmen. There's no Oscar for the best stuntman.
not?
There needs to be.
Oh,
And
wow.
that got brought up, actually, at the Oscars when Brad Pitt won for Best Supporting Actor for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Of course he did, didn't
Because
he?
he plays a stuntman in
Yeah.
the movie. And he said, we need to give more love to them. I think they need to give more love in Oscars to scenes in films. Okay. Because there are a lot of movies that are just, okay, but they've got fantastic scenes in them. And those scenes, I don't know, I think it'd be quite good to have an Oscar for, best scene of the year sort of thing. They have it in MTV Movie Awards. I know it's a bit of a difference in class between those two. But I think it might personally, say some actors and directors will go, to hell and back to make one great scene. And then it gets forgotten about because the film overall wasn't great. And I do understand that, but I wish there was more love, because mostly I remember films from certain scenes, not from beginning to end, because there's a certain film in it. That's how you remember, for me, I'm sure yourself, you remember certain films because of a certain scene.
Well, coming on to that, if I was to give one film an Oscar for a scene, I'll ask you the same question in a minute, but for me, it would be the one take in Scorsese's Goodfellas where they're walking down the stairs and
gorgeous.
And you've got the what's the three girl band called?
The Crystals.
Yeah, singing. Oh, Then He Kissed Me. What a scene! That should have won an Oscar.
That is one of the I remember being obsessed with that scene because it's a one-track shot, isn't it? And
amazing.
to have that in place,
walking through the kitchen, walking. Oh God!
It's professionalism at its best because everyone knows their job.
Yes. Yep.
Everyone's doing it. Everyone's on fire. Scorsese at the time, he was peak. I mean, he did go on to make great films, of course, afterwards. But Goodfellas, for me, Casino followed, and that was a great film.
Yeah.
But Goodfellas, that scene in Goodfellas has always been with me.
Glad you agree.
I love it. I think it's that alone. I mean, Goodfellas got shone out of the Oscars because of Dancing with Wolves.
I've never seen Dancing with Wolves.
That is a great film, but that is very much like The Revenant. It's a Revenant of its time.
So I'm not going to like it then.
As well, it depends which cut you watch. If you watch the original cut, well, I think there's a director's cut which nears 4 hours.
No, I'm not going to watch it.
You can watch it maybe in TV.
I've got 5-year-old Rob. I'm not going to watch a 4-hour film.
You could watch it in TV chapters, perhaps.
Okay.
But The Revenant is my number one, and I could not get on board with it. But if you guys love that film, then comment below, because even though I'm not here to argue with you, but I'd love to see what you liked about the film, and same with Chad's choices. But to be fair, we're all here today for Chad's number one. Now, be warned. This is big.
This is big. I want to start off by saying I will argue with you in the chat box. No, I'm only joking. I think number 3 of this film is the best of the franchise.
Yeah, I love it.
But I also hate number 3, so this isn't going to go well. My number 1 is Back to the Future. And that's mainly because I just think it's ridiculous. My main thing with it, right, and this might seem really petty, and I've said this to you before, Rob, is the car. The car shit. And I'm sorry for using language, but the car, it's a bit shit in it. Like, what the main feature about it is that the doors go up. Wow. I've got a window that goes that way as well. I'm not putting a film in that. You know what they should have used? A Dodge Charger. That would have been cooler. It goes faster as well. Put the flux capacitor. That's what it's called, the flux capacitor.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what car that is now. You're mentioning.
What? A DeLorean?
No, the one.
No, Dodge Charger. Yeah, it's like the General Lee kind of
thing.
Oh,
right, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That car, that going to the future with that good. And Doc Brown, bit weird. Starts off with a terrorist shooting at him, then he kidnaps a kid, takes him back in time, tries to diddle his mother. It's a weird film. And I'm a man that watches really strange films. And I've watched that film pretty much every year from when I was a kid. My brother, big Back to the Future fan, so's my mum. They watch every year, and I sit there, and honestly, I get to the bit where his mum tries on with it. I'm like, I'm out.
No, there's always been good chat about that. It's always been brought up in conversation, and I mean, like I say, it is a shocking one because I've never. To be fair, because so your thoughts. So number one, you hate it.
Hate's a strong word. Like I use hate for Mars Attacks. I don't hate any film. I don't. My picks
Overhyped.
are exactly. I think these films shouldn't be as big as they are.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I get that. Yeah,
Again, this the cheesy bit where he's. I don't know if this is which back. You know what? I dislike all three, so I'm just going to use all of them for number one. The bit where he's using the guitar on stage. And he goes mad with it, and he looks at him and goes, "Oh, you kids will love this one." Never. Like, shut up, Michael J. Fox.
No. I mean, that is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I completely appreciate the opinion. I respect.
Oh
it.
no, honestly, you don't like Django Unchained.
Yeah.
So me and you were clashing right now.
WrestleMania 6 going on right here. Warrior versus Hogan.
Which one am I? No, sorry, no, go on.
You can be Warrior. You know, he's a tough guy. Warrior. He's got tattoos. You've got all the. You've got the makeup, haven't you? Sort of thing on your hands. But no, I mean. I watched Back to the Future 2 before I saw the first one, but I knew enough about the first one through by friends talking about it to sort of get on board with it. I didn't really watch Back to the Future until I was in mid-90s. I was a late bloomer with it. But the second one came on one day, or I might have rented it or bought it somewhere, I don't know. But I watched it first, and a friend of mine quickly said, this is because the covers look, on the movies look very much identical, especially the first two. Because all that's different is basically it says part 2 on it. I don't think
got that awful car on the front of the cover as well. People love the car. Like
I love it.
Sorry, Rob, I'm butting in. I'm going to butt in because you go to Comic-Con and you see all these people like, oh my god, a DeLorean. It's like it doesn't go fast. Like look, the General Lee's over there.
It's because it's the I've got a mate called Darren. He watches.
Does it? Well, Darren, comment.
Darren is the biggest Back to the Future fan I've ever met, and believe it or not, last February, which would have been my last outing to anything outdoorsy before COVID. Basically, I went to the Back to the Future musical in Manchester, and I actually I got a picture, met Bob Gale, the writer of the movie. And he was lovely. He was very nice. And I met Alan Silvestri, who did the soundtrack.
I would have hit him with his script.
No, you would have loved him because Alan Silvestri has done films. It's like a rabbit hole of movies and sort of thing. But I saw the DeLorean. They did amazing work with the DeLorean on a stage. I've never seen it before in my whole life. The movie itself, I thought was the musical was fantastic, and the DeLorean represents a time in people's lives where they could go back and feel nostalgic. That's because I do love Back to the Future. I'm a big fan. It's not in my top 10. It's not in my top 20 probably. It's a trilogy that I've always enjoyed. And like I say, I don't go back to it and think of the 80s nostalgia because I didn't watch it till the mid-90s. But I do get its significance. So I think it's fantastic to hear your views because, like I say, if you can't get on board with something, then like I say, sometimes it's good to have, to sort of, give out the opinion that a film that everyone loves is actually not that great. But because some people can get, I think, what's that word? You can get very overwhelmed by the amount of people that like a movie. Like Back to the Future's got a massive fan base. And in a way, sometimes if you're surrounded by all these fans who like this one thing and you don't like it, you sort of detest it even more because you're sort of sitting there going, why can't you see what I'm thinking?
Yes, 100%. I get that. With that film especially, like, most of my friends really. Case in point, I'm pointing at James, who's behind the camera. He's also a big Back to the Future fan. But again with Mars Attacks, I tried to watch back. No, what I did watch Back to the Future. Maybe Mars Attacks should be my number one. The thing is with Back to the Future, what I don't get with Mars Attacks is I appreciate why people like it.
Right, fair enough.
Like people like Back to the Future, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it 100%. People like Mars Attacks, I'm like.
But Back to the Future is built. The whole fan base, the whole creation of the movie is built on love. And it's built on a great big stage of people who come together to have, this love for one. It's like Star Wars and things like that. Every franchise has got like a fan base, and Back to the Future for me is one of the biggest fan bases I've ever encountered. And like I say, I'm a fan, so I'm not against it. But I think it's always good to see the other side, and that's what you brought today.
Just don't like it, Rob.
No.
I'm sorry, is it Darren?
Darren.
I'm sorry, Darren.
Daz.
But you need...
Shadows.
Yeah. The film's not very good.
I'm trying to think now, what would he think? You know what? Darren's a great guy. You'd have a blast talking to him. But maybe it should have been him on. Actually, if it was, then it could have gone wrong. Because I met Darren on Twitter.
Okay.
I think it was Twitter. Yeah, it was Twitter. And I've met him since. He was the one who got me tickets to see Back to the Future. You know, he's a great guy. And watching him like it is just like, whoa. You know,
yeah.
I like Back to the Future. You love it.
Yeah, yeah.
And seeing that, you know, passion. And I've met other people through, I've met friends of his who are also big fans. And I think to myself, wow, you guys are dedicated. And I love that people get dedicated to movie franchises because that's what makes films, you know, last longer.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the horror genre, you know, it's got so many massive characters, whether it be Freddy, Jason, Leatherface. They've all got fans, and they all come together, and they all just create this massive, you know, sort of like love vibe.
And that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, because you get to meet people,
yeah.
and you know, and film fans are some of the best fans you can meet in the world. I mean, they can also be the most opinionated fans in the world, like we are today. But again, that's why we're looking forward to having guests on in the future,
yes.
which I believe is coming soon. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're meant to be. Well, obviously with COVID going on, that's what we'll talk about next.
Yeah,
now we're done with that. With guests, we're not 100% sure what's going to be happening.
No, but they are coming.
Yeah, they're definitely coming. We're trying to sort of get some bigger space so we can allow.
Yeah.
But we're also thinking of maybe ideas where we'll have sort of them on a Zoom call or something.
Yeah, to make it safer.
Yeah, we're going to sort out is what we're trying to say basically.
But it's going to look good because, like I
yes.
say, it's going to be great to hear more opinions from people because that's what we want. We want people to be more involved with what we do. You know, of course, it's Chad and I usually, but you know, to get other people on sometimes and get their point of view across on a genre or a movie in particular is always exciting to hear.
We'd love it as well if you guys could put the two films that you dislike that everyone else loves in the comment. Pretty cool. So then you can sort of let us, because I'm sure there'll be one or two answers that will make me and Rob go, really?
Yeah, get some comments below and we'll get some people talking more.
Yeah, thanks guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. We've got an unboxing video, haven't we?
An unboxing video.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with what's in the box, but you'll find out with the video. But we'll try and release pretty soon. Pretty cool. So thanks for watching, guys.